What up, y'all? This is your boy DMV Ken, the Neo Simmer, and we are back. We're better than ever. This is the Game Therapy channel. We just gonna continue to give y'all the hotness. You know what I'm saying? We about to give y'all drops back to back to back to back. We about to enter the chat. I hope y'all ready. Guess who's gonna enter the chat with us? You're gonna have to stick around and see. Neo Simmer, let's get it. What up, y'all? This is your boy DMV Ken, aka the Neo Simmer. We are back with another episode of Enter the Chat, and we are playing NBA 2K21. And guess who just stepped in the chat? My man, Skip Bayless, aka Drip Bayless, aka Skip. What up, Skip? So I heard you're not quite in your game room yet, but I did hear you have a very, very dope game room. Tell me about it. Where is it?
Which is actually in our humble abode here on the west side of Los Angeles, up in our loft. So I'm about to come up the stairs. I'll take them two at a time as I come into what usually serves as our home gym. As my wife Ernestine is shooting this, our little daughter Hazel is down here. If you can see, hi Hazel.
Cool. What's up, Hazel? What's going on, Ernestine? All right, Skip, let's get right off into this. Please share with the people. What is your issue with LeBron James? Why have you spent 15 years of your television career, your life, going at LeBron James?
Steven Jackson always says about LeBron James, he's the only superstar who has to keep telling you how great he is. He does. It just drives me nuts. LeBron, you're LeBron. You finished 15 regular seasons and you still have to wear shoes, sneakers, that say The King in dramatic white letters, The King on the backs of your sneakers, your 15s. I liked them. They're cool. I think about wearing those without the King on them.
Come on, Skip, really? That can't be your sole reason of why you come at this man all the time. I mean, is it anything sports related, basketball related on the court that make you dislike this man? I mean, come on, he's brought championships to 3 different teams. Now, you might get mad that he went off to Miami, but he came back home to Cleveland and brought them a championship.
LeBron James checked out on the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't care what anybody says. I can prove it to you.
What? When?
19 straight games. LeBron's plus minus. That's just your basic stat for while you're on the floor, the score is what? Are you ahead or are you behind? And that starts to add up over time. And over those 19 games, LeBron James had the worst plus minus, the worst minus of any player in the whole NBA.
Skip, who cares about that old stuff? He brought him a championship. What more can you ask? Then he had to work with Kyrie, that freaking turncoat, ungrateful dude that turned his back on him after he brought him a championship and taught him how to grow up as a player.
Some guys just can't take it. They can't take the drama. They can't take the chaos. They can't take the sort of crisis of night that is LeBron James because he feeds off it, but he can drag others just into oblivion.
I think chaos and crisis might be a stretch. I mean, LeBron has played with some pretty great players during his run, and his teams have been pretty stacked. I mean, I will agree with you with that he has had some great players. I mean, you look at Dwayne, Kyrie, AD. In your opinion, who do you think is the best player that he's played with?
Brandon Ingram and obviously Lonzo Ball. And I don't want to get off track on Lonzo Ball, but I am obviously a big Lonzo fan, and I don't know what happened. Lonzo did not click with his coach early on with the Lakers, with Luke Walton. That team was loaded with talent. That team has firepower, and every once in a while Lonzo lived up to it, and a lot of times he dragged it down. He just checked out. Speaking of checking out, he just checked out. I don't know. Passive-aggressive like LeBron, but way to a fault. He'd kind of walk the ball up the floor and flip it over to the wing and go stand over in the far corner. I don't know what happened to Lonzo Ball. Extremely gifted, special talent.
Skip, are you kidding me? Come on, man. You got to stop all this nonsense of just saying stuff to have some contrarian take for shock and value, bro. Like, you talking about Michael Jordan at 50-some years old can beat LeBron James right now in the one-on-one game. Man, are you mad? Are you crazy? There's no way in your right mind that you actually believe that's possible.
I say that on this alone and this alone, Michael Jordan could figure a way to beat a LeBron James who just might crumble under the pressure to beat his idol, the greatest basketball player in the history of life.
See, Skip, you starting to piss me off now. Are you freaking crazy? LeBron James is the greatest player of our generation. He's been dominant for the last 15 years, and he's a shoo-in Hall of Famer, man. Put some respect on this man's name.
I can't respect the criteria for getting into the Basketball Hall of Fame the way I can the Baseball and the Football Hall of Fame. So if I'm judging by those standards, the baseball and football standards, there is no way that LeBron James is already a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Man, I swear to God. You know what, man? I'm done talking LeBron James and basketball with you, man. Let's just move on. So I'm guessing you thinking that 40-something-year-old Tom Brady is going to outplay and beat 20-something Patrick Mahomes, huh?
So I have heard this for at least 5 years, 7 years, 8, 9 years. It's always, this isn't fair, the ex-players. This isn't fair. Tom Brady can't play this way. He flinches, he ducks, he's losing his nerve. It's not fair. This is football. It's a hard game, and he's avoiding the danger. It's not fair. He can't keep playing this long. That was 2013. That was a long time ago. And since then, Tom Brady played the greatest fourth quarter we'd ever seen in a Super Bowl against the Legion of Boom after the 2014 season. And then he played the greatest fourth quarter in overtime in the comeback against Atlanta. And then just last Super Bowl, he threw for an all-time playoff record 505 yards in a Super Bowl game. Whoa, it's my turn. That's when I first heard Tom Brady's losing it. And then in 2009, he lost a home playoff game 33-14 to Ray Rice and company. He managed only 14 points against the Ravens, turned around 1 year later and lost to Mark Sanchez at home in Foxborough. And then in 2012, he lost to Baltimore, scoring only 13 points at home. And dare I even bring up the classic turning point game in early 2014 when they went to Kansas City and lost 41-14. That was the we're on to Cincinnati game, said Bill Belichick. But that was the night everybody said, you know, it's just sad and pathetic to watch Tom Brady because he's washed up. So what happened this year? Look at what he's been through.
Cool, that's good and all, Skip, but answer the question, man. Is Tom Brady going to beat Patrick Mahomes?
I think it will benefit Tampa fairly hugely that a young team with very little Super Bowl experience. That I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 7 players with Super Bowl experience. Obviously, Brady's going to his 10th. Gronk's going to his 5th.
You know what, Skip? I don't even know if you answered the question or not, but I ain't even going to worry about it. So what else is going on in sports?
James Harden is a bad man who is leading that basketball team in fourth quarter after fourth quarter after fourth quarter. I'm close to putting him in that category above Kevin Durant. This is all above Kevin.
James Harden above Kevin Durant? Are you crazy, Skip? Do you know what Kevin Durant has accomplished? That this dude is an MVP, a 2-time finals MVP champion? This dude is arguably the second best player in the league. If not, some people think the first best player. Skip, stop.
I can't, because Kevin Durant, as we all know, he was born 6 feet, he didn't come out 6'10", but he's got by gift 6 feet 10 inches, and what's his wingspan? 7'7"?
Come on, Skip. James Harden is nice, but there's a couple other players that I would choose over him. A Steph Curry. Come on, man. You can't put him over Kevin Durant, man. Kevin Durant is arguably the second best player in the league, and some people would say he's the best player. And that's arguable, bro, because he's definitely the best offensive player. He's unstoppable. How are you putting James Harden over him? I would put Steph over James Harden.
So, again, can't put Steph in there yet just because of his size. And Damian Lillard is starting to threaten that category, also above Kevin Durant. So I named a whole bunch of dudes, but I gave you 4 that I definitely would put up there above Kevin in the cleaner category.
The what? The cleaner category? So you're telling me Steph, Durant, and LeBron aren't cleaners?
And if you boil this down back to the greatest clutch shot that was ever made by Ray Allen, if you take that away, Tim Duncan would have been 6-0 in the NBA Finals. That is Jordan-esque. I got it to 6-0.
Skip, we get it. Nobody's taking any credit from Tim Duncan. He is a GOAT. He is a legend. But we talking about players right now. The Steph Currys, the Durants, the LeBron James, the Kawhi Leonards.
I will never forget what number 2 did to me and my San Antonio Spurs. He quit on my Spurs 2 years ago and quit his way right out of San Antonio. But you know what? Maybe it's time to forgive, to let it go, to let it be. Maybe it's time to do what number 2's Uncle Dennis asked me to do at the Manny Pacquiao fight back in August in Las Vegas on behalf of number 2. Uncle Dennis said, why don't you call him by his given name? So you know what? It's time. Here I go. Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard.
Are you done? Are you done, Skip? Are you good? You got that out your system? You happy now? You feel good about yourself, Skip? You're done? You got it? Cool. Can we move on now? So, Skip, you always speaking highly on your Spurs when Tim Duncan and Manu and those guys were there, and you believe that they could beat that stacked Golden State team with Kevin Durant.
My Spurs would have kicked your golden tail in the finals. I don't care what anybody says. My Spurs have LeBron James' number. It took Ray Allen making the greatest clutch shot I've ever seen to save LeBron's legacy. Without it, my Spurs would have beaten them all 3 times they faced LeBron in NBA Finals. And the last time, they only blew him off the court by a record finals margin. And go explain to me what happened to LeBron James in Game 3 and Game 4 in Miami of that series when it was tied 1-1. If you can figure it out, there's still an APB out on LeBron in both of those games. So they're at full strength. And Kawhi Leonard owned LeBron James. He's always owned LeBron James.
Woosah. You know what, Skip? Anyway, man, we appreciate you coming on and joining us in the chat. We thank you. Hey, y'all, go ahead, subscribe, like, comment, do all those wonderful things, because guess what? When you do good for others, karma comes right back around and do good for you. As always, we give our guests the last word. Skip, it's on you, my man. Let's get it.
Skip Bayless, coming to you live from West Los Angeles, Century City, about a mile from where we're about to do Undisputed tomorrow morning from 9:30 to noon Eastern time. I probably shouldn't do this now. Ernestine just turned the lights off that I turn on. Leave them off. They're better off. They're better off. I'd rather do this in the dark anyway. I don't think I'm capable of doing this. I've never been so sickened by a game I just watched than I was by this game. But I would have won with Kawhi Leonard. You know it, and I know it. And everybody in the world knows deep down, if Kawhi Leonard doesn't get zazad, doesn't get hockey gooned, doesn't get cheap shotted, dirty pooled, that the Spurs would have won this game. They're just going to win. Listen, Kawhi Leonard is not afraid of anybody, and he's not afraid of that building, and he alone would have been a big enough force. He would have gotten to the free throw line in the fourth quarter. I'm sure it would have gotten hairy and crazy and close, but my Spurs would have held on and won because they're just good enough to do that.
Flawless victory.